I've been on your podcast twice, and we've talked about that movie twice, and no one's ever heard of it, ever.
I don't care.
It's on Paramount Plus. It's a real movie. Please, God, just watch. Just click on the movie.
Just click on it. Just click on it.
Roll your mouse over and let it run.
Just let it run. Just let it run.
Just let it run.
Would you be
on
offended
Paramount
if...
Plus? It doesn't cost you anything. If you have Paramount Plus, I'll give you a login. It costs you next to nothing.
Please welcome to the stage the man, the myth, the Lennon. It's the incredible Thomas Lennon. Whoa! Welcome. So good to see you. Thank you for being here. Oh.
Fucking victory lap! Victory lap! Saw you in Madison.
Oh yeah, we were in Madison. Remember the Madison show? We had a great time.
Killing it.
There's an important judicial race coming up in Wisconsin in a couple weeks, and maybe may go back. You got a big judge race coming up.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. It's good to see you, Lovett. How are you?
I'm all right. You've written a young adult book series.
A bunch. Yeah, I got a bunch of novels out. Yeah.
How do you?
I know I seem a little dumb to have written some novels, but I did. Yeah. It just I know it doesn't really track. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Well, it's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
You're silly.
You're
so
goofy.
Silly.
Yeah.
You're goofy, but you're very smart and sharp. And I don't think you read dumb. I don't even think anyone could think that someone could think that.
I do look a lot like Eric Holvey, though.
You do?
Remember Eric Holvey?
Oh, Eric Holvey, yes,
He's such a trivia question now. He used to be a big deal. We were all scared of him.
Eric Holvey.
Yeah.
We won something. We
won
something.
some stuff. We were doing great. Yeah.
But
the books. I have a series of books. Yeah.
And when you're writing a young adult, I understand what it would be like to write a children's novel. All right, and I understand in theory about how to write a novel. I mean, I couldn't possibly do it. It's inconceivable to actually do it. But how do you figure out what's the lane for a young adult novel?
You know what was really, really useful to learning how to write novels was writing in the studio movie system for so long, because you just do whatever you would do on a movie. For novels, you do the opposite. Honestly, like in movies, it's just all about like, oh my God, this is so long and we hate it. And you've gone way too in detail into what the characters think and feel and what they want.
Got to get that out of there.
Yeah, you don't use that in the movies. Well, in the movies that I work on. But in novels, it was interesting to start writing books in the book world where people ask for more. You know, that's something that doesn't really come up in the movie world. I mean, you've written some movie stuff, but like, it's interesting to get into the world where your character, you could do 100 pages about what your character feels, which is probably more what your life is really like, you know?
Yeah, that's interesting. And it's nice of you to say that I've worked in movies, but
you have worked a little bit in movies.
I have occasionally been sent a script and then written jokes along the sides of it that tend to be about, wouldn't it be funny if this character were gay? That's my move.
It's a great move.
I think this character would be gay.
It's this classic South Park move.
Gotta make them all gay. Speaking of gay, Reno 911.
Yeah, it's great show. Thank you very much.
We're kind of in a Reno 911 renaissance.
We kind of are. It's interesting.
I just made that up.
No, but it was also very accurate. It's weird because somehow in the era of like TikTok and Instagram, I see more clips of Reno 911 than I've ever seen. But only because they come up in my feed. And I think it's because the show plays, well, two things. In some ways, people think the show was like not politically correct, when the fact is the show was actually just diverse in a real way with characters who had lots of different opinions. So it wasn't, it didn't feel like anybody was being ganged up on. It was just like, and it's also a show that was not written and unfiltered. So to me, that people keep acting like, oh my God, you could never do this now. It's like, no, you definitely could if you just were sincere.
Yeah, and maybe you couldn't do it a month ago, but now you definitely can.
Now you can do it. Literally.
Now it's fucking
go
back.
Nuts. Literally Gulf of nuts. Gulf of go nuts.
But yeah, I think about that with Reno 911. I think about that with Always Sunny, which is that these were like incredibly just hard, funny shows that people I think sort into like politically incorrect.
Yeah.
But it was just, but it was like, yeah, these were characters. These were characters that were like being silly and were the butt of the joke too.
And this is a pretty big thing that I've always wondered about, where that sometimes I feel a little weird about it when people are like, oh, Reno 911 is like, fuck you, take no prisoners, you'll never apologize. I'm like, but if you look at where we come from and the people that do the show, there used to be like some meaning to like your intention.
Yeah.
You know? Like it used to like mean like where you were coming from used to mean something. I think it probably still does. But I'm afraid there's a lot of means, like, say what you want, Reno 911 is one of the most inappropriate shows there's ever been. But what it never is it's never mean-spirited. And that comes from, I think, who we are. But there was I feel like people are always like, Reno 911, it's like the fuck. It's like, but no, we're never the fuck you show. Our heart was, I hope, in the right place, and I think it was most of the time, you know?
Yeah, no, I think that's, well, it's, I do think, like, what is that a reaction to? Well, I like what you're saying. I think it's important what you're saying, this idea of, like, where you're coming from matters.
It should matter, yeah.
But I do think that, like, there is clearly a reaction to a feeling that, now, I don't think this was true in terms of, like, the broader culture, but it is a reaction to a small subset of people that were not particularly powerful, but were particularly loud online, that actually didn't have much influence, but came to represent a kind of left annoyance, an annoyance from the left that became much more important as an antagonist than it was actually in the industry itself, right? Like, that's a lot of what people's like anti-cancel culture stuff is about. It's like, you are talking about social media commentary that maybe there were some ways in which other people decided to take it more seriously than they necessarily should have. But for the most part, you're talking about being annoyed by internet people.
Yeah, and I think there was a long time where everybody listened to small factions of angry people way too much. You know, there was somebody said, like, just because you're outraged doesn't mean you're correct. But that's, you know, sometimes I really look at comedy now and I'm like, what's the spirit of it? You know, like, what is the spirit? Because there was a lot of people who got as mean as they could be and started playing stadiums. Yeah. And you're like, what? How did this happen? And sometimes I wonder, almost it was like a badge of honor to like get, you know, to be mad with the people that were, you know, put upon by, you know, that like got yelled at. They're like, I'm going to go see the guy who got yelled at the most. But I don't think I could say I'm a big fan of that. I'm like, I just think your intention means a lot.
Yeah, I do. I think that's right. And I think it confuses what it means to believe that no topic should be off limits for comedy, which I believe genuinely.
I absolutely believe that.
But
that's what's weird about all these, the Elon and everybody, all these like sort of absolutists. They're absolutely not.
Right.
Like, they're absolutely absolutists until you get 1 millimeter towards anything that scares them.
Right, and I think that's and it is like, these are like, it's so funny when Elon was like, I own Twitter, comedy is back. That joke,
the guy who said,
you're going to jail.
Let this sink in. He walked up with a fucking sink and said, let this sink in. Let this sink in.
Well, it's funny because it's
and we were like, I'm like, oh my God, he was the guy who was in charge of every comedy's going to be okay now. That was his first fucking day.
But you get it, right? Because it's
oh, it's hilarious because he's like, let this sink in.
Because sink can mean like, to let something sink in, is to let something kind of get in.
It was,
but it also is the name. It's also the name. It was
of the, also amazing of the
bowl.
Item that he was holding in the bowl,
of the vessel,
holding the bowl.
So it was sort of a pun.
But that was the first day of comedy becoming amazing again.
Yeah, that
was let this sink in.
But I do think that sometimes people think wrongly.
Wouldn't it be amazing if you were driving up in like the Cybertruck or whatever to the venue and you're holding the sink? And like, you know how like when you're doing a joke, even tonight, you're like, cut this out, or I don't know, but like you're like, should I do this joke? But if you're Elon Musk and you're driving up to Twitter, which you've just bought, and you're holding a sink that you just got at Lowe's, and like there's guys next to you, and you're like, am I doing that? Do I do the joke? I'm gonna, oh fuck, oh my God, I'm gonna get in the fucking door. Oh my God, I don't even want to do it. Oh my God, I'm totally gonna do it. I'm gonna fucking go in the door. Oh my God, I'm gonna say, let this sink in. Like,
well,
don't you have one friend that would have been like, love it. No, we're not doing it.
That's the thing. I think
love it. We're not doing that.
Where is the
no.
He
don't
does
have
not
friends.
have
They
that
don't have
person.
friends.
He doesn't have that person that's like, hey man, I think this
Don't
thing
walk in
was
with
like
the
a
sink.
little
You look
joke.
stupid.
It's not gonna work. It's not gonna
dumb.
play. It's not gonna play. You need
but you
somebody
understand
to
the
say
reference
it's
is
not
that there's a sink and that it sinks in. No, we get the no, don't. You just need a friend.
But it's interesting. This like he just needs a lot of. They need therapy. They need fucking friends. They
like
need therapy and friends.
You need one guy around you to be like, don't. It's dumb. Like, just don't change the golf name. It's dumb. It's dumb.
It's just dumb. It's just dumb.
It doesn't. There's nothing cool about it.
Yeah, you need the person. You need the person that you call when you're in the car for 15 minutes. That's just the check-in person.
Hey,
everybody has those friends. They're check-in friends for their 15-minute car ride. You have like 3 or 4, right? You have your 3 or 4 check-in friends, and you have your A, your B, your C, your D, and you just go down the list. You get A, you got A, baby. We're talking to A. A doesn't pick up, we're calling B. Hey, B, I love you, but you're not A, but you don't know that. You don't know where you are in the hierarchy and the call structure.
What I love is that the bad guys in my life are all my representatives. So I'll like call them up and I'll be like, hey, is this a good idea for a movie? And then my agent will say, I don't think so. Empirically, no.
Yeah, we crunched the numbers. Bad idea.
No. They have all the answers really fast.
Yeah, no, look at the quadrants. Nothing.
Yeah, I'm not even trying out like prop jokes with sinks and stuff.
Yeah, but there's but I think that's like an important thing about the difference. Part of it is because you people don't have taste, but that people see Reno 911, and they see that you can joke about anything, right?
Yeah, and we do. Yeah.
And therefore, that means you view nothing as off limits, and that they draw that connection to the like anti-woke comedy that's harsh and negative, and it's like no. Just because it's about the heart and intention of the joke, and it's about the ethic of it. It's about the spirit of it.
Well, that was an odd thing because I went with Jordan Klepper. I went to a Trump rally last year. When we thought this was all goofy, and I was like, we're fine. But I went in the dangle outfit to the Trump rally in Reno. And it's the most popular I've ever been. And that should definitely have been like a telltale sign of like, oh, maybe this is, I don't know.
Maybe we're in trouble here.
Yeah, maybe we're in trouble. But we were filming out, and there was an actual depot that sold bulk ammunition. And you could also rent a machine gun. There's a place in Reno you can rent a machine gun with any kind of ID. And it's the most famous I've ever been, is right next to the machine gun rental place. Yeah.
Love It or Leave It is brought to you by Prolon. It's the time of year where your goals to live healthier maybe starting to wane. Maybe you're still committed to your goals, but you just don't have a clear plan to get results you want. That's where Prolon's 5-day program can help. Prolon provides a clear plan with specific daily meals, making it easier to stay focused and achieve real results. Prolon's fasting mimicking diet is a revolutionary plant-based nutrition program that nourishes the body while making cells believe they're fasting. Yeah, trick those cells. Researched and developed for decades at USC's Longevity Institute and backed by leading U.S. medical centers, Prolon helps support healthy blood sugar, enhanced skin appearance, fat loss, and improved energy and focus post-fast. It all starts with their 5-day program. Snacks, soups, beverages designed to keep your body in a fasting state. No guesswork, no planning required, which is relief after such a busy holiday period. Plus, we're all busy all the time. 3 consecutive cycles of Prolon have been shown to reduce your biological age score by an average of 2.5 years and your waist circumference by 1.5 inches. That's cool. To help you kickstart a healthy plan that truly works, Prolon is offering Love It or Leave It listeners 15% off site-wide, plus a $40 bonus gift when you subscribe to their 5-day nutrition program. Just visit prolonlife.com/loveit. That's PROLONLIFE.com/loveit to claim your 15% discount and your bonus gift. prolonlife.com/loveit.
You've written, acted, and fallen face first onto a Shark Tank in literally dozens of movies and TV series. Horror, comedy, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. You've done it all. The only thing more jam-packed than your resume is This Week in News. So tonight,
here we go. It's a game.
We're going to ask you a very important question. Did this happen this week or in one of your movies in a segment we're calling It Was Like a Movie? I'm going to read you a sentence. You're going to tell us if it happened in a film you wrote or appeared in, or if it is literally something that
I'm
happened
going
in
into
last
an
week in news.
isolation booth in my mind.
He's going into the
I'm in an isolation booth.
All right, up first.
Okay, love it. Here we go.
Nevada police officers became trapped on a cruise ship mobbed by a throng of angry MAGA supporters.
No. That's a movie.
That isn't a movie.
Okay.
That is a movie. That's the plot of 2021's Reno 911: The Hunt for QAnon.
Okay, love it. I've been on your podcast twice, and we've talked about that movie twice, and no one's ever heard of it ever.
I don't care.
It's on Paramount Plus. It's a real movie. Please, God, just click on the movie.
Just click on it. Just click on it.
Roll your mouse over and let it run.
Just let it run. Just let it run.
Just let it run.
Would you be
on
offended
Paramount
if-
Plus? It doesn't cost you anything. If you have Paramount Plus, I'll give you a login. It costs you next to nothing.
Would you be offended if people shopped or did their
Not
taxes?
at all.
during-
Do whatever you need to do. Put it in a way back window. Do anything else.
Yeah.
All right. Love it. Here we go.
Next up, a teenage boy. Oh, but here's my question. If you could, what would your next politically themed Reno 911 sequel be called?
Oh, it's called 51st State.
No, I like that. I like that. I like that.
Okay.
51st State of hilarity.
So years ago, okay, I'm going to act like this is not a real thing, but years ago, a friend of mine in a different comedy group called The Kids in the Hall, we were talking, and he was like, they're a Canadian group, obviously, and he said one day he was always told as a little boy that the United States was going to march across their border, and he was told that as a little kid for the water.
Oh, another good reason.
I think it's probably happening. It probably is, though.
Here's the thing. Here's the problem. I do think it's very hard to, it's very hard to kind of hold territory if the people don't want it. I think it's one of the lessons of the last, say, several thousand years, but especially the last, say, 100 years. It's very hard to hold territory, even if a small percentage of the population is committed to getting rid of you.
Right.
You ultimately end up getting worn down. It's the longest undefended. It's the longest border in the world. It's certainly also the longest undefended border in the world.
I don't think we take Montreal under any circumstances.
I don't even know.
We're never going to take Montreal.
We're never going to take it. Oh, no, Montreal.
Montreal. We'll never take it.
We'll never take it.
Yeah.
They were rude to me in that casino once.
Do you want to?
But I think that's because I looked 15.
Can I tell you my whole theory about this?
Mm-hmm.
There's a long-standing theory that where people from the United States feel like French people are rude. I've been to France, spent a lot of time in France. Look it up. Look it up. Little picture called Le Divorce. Thank you. Please watch it. It's also on Paramount Plus. It's basically free. It's on Paramount Plus. Just you set the mouse on it and you don't touch the space bar. It's fine. I've never had a person in France ever be rude to me, ever. Y'all been to Montreal? People in Montreal can be rude as fuck.
Yeah. I also like that.
That's where that's from.
The Simpsons is dubbed into Canadian French.
Oui.
And France French.
Yeah, oui.
And they're different.
Mais oui.
And they have the different laughs.
Mais oui.
And the Quebec version is just so much trashier.
Yeah, oui. Mais oui.
It's just like dirtier. It's cool.
Yeah. Like they're nude in the Quebec version.
They're all
Sometimes
nude.
you see
There's a lot of nudity. It's a lot of nudity.
Yeah.
They have good bagels in Montreal. A teenage boy nicknamed Big Balls was hired for a top secret job with the government.
Well, I know that this happened this week. So, I don't get any prize for this. No, this was real. This really happened.
Was real. You got it.
It's really happened.
You can get a prize. We can get you a prize.
Yeah. I would love
a
that.
19-year-old software engineer and Doge staffer Edward Corostine was assigned to the State Department. It's unclear as of now what his position actually is. Next up, the winners of a beauty pageant suffered mass food poisoning brought on by a tainted seafood buffet.
I feel like that's a picture that I'm in, and it also happened this week.
It is your movie. You are the voice of the documentarian in 1999's
wow, that is a real
mockumentary
thing.
Drop Dead
No.
Gorgeous.
I was wrong. That really happened. Drop Dead Gorgeous.
Drop Dead
It's
Gorgeous.
a great picture.
A great film.
Yes.
A great film. Next up.
By the way, you just can't be called big balls. Just don't do that.
Well, it just raises a lot of questions. Because they
Well,
are or they aren't. You know what I mean?
They
And
are.
it's
They
like,
aren't.
If they are,
Can
would
we
it
go
be?
back
And if
to
they
the little
aren't,
shorts? Because I wear little shorts too, and these balls just aren't. There's no way they're that big. No, there's no way.
it's hard to say.
I know it's a fun thing to say, but it's like, then everywhere you go, you're like, it's big balls. Oh my god. Ugh.
It's a bit like
This is who
look,
they beat us. By the way,
they
by a
kicked our
landslide.
asses. Kicked our asses.
A guy with a Hitler haircut called Big Balls.
The son of a judge was arrested after police mistook his asthma attack for a violent assault.
That's a Reno 911.
No, it's actually from 2006. Let's Go to Prison, starring Dax Shepard
Oh,
and Will
shit.
Arnett.
Oh, that's a great picture. I wrote that.
You did. You wrote that.
Yeah. It's a way better picture than you think. Yeah. Directed by Bob Odenkirk.
Bob Odenkirk directed that movie.
Directed that picture. Yeah, it was a surprisingly great picture. Yeah. Again, just click on the streamer. You just move the mouse and let it run, and you don't have to say a goddamn thing. There's no test at the end of it. You watch it.
Yeah, and if anything, it's just an alibi if you're happening to commit a crime at the same time.
Perfect time.
Just hit play.
Well, go look at my streamer. Was running the entire time.
How could I have been killing someone? Your
When
Honor,
I was watching all of Bob Odenkirk's Let's Go to Prison.
I was watching Dax Shepard at his best.
Originally called You Are Going to Prison, based on a book by an actual anarchist.
Really?
Yeah, it was based on a book by this guy who'd been to prison a bunch of times. But it was all about useful information, like most state and federal. There's only really two kinds of handcuff keys.
Huh.
There's a state handcuff key and a federal handcuff key. So if you have both of them on like a long chain around your neck,
Honestly,
you never know.
Honestly, these days could
No,
come,
I know.
could
These
come in
days,
useful.
There's two kinds of handcuff keys. Keep them on a real loose chain right around here.
Do you think I'd be helped at all by the fact that I have such dainty wrists? Look at these things. I
my
think I
God.
can get
there's
out.
No, you can't. There's no cuffs made that could hold a
They
love
couldn't
it.
hold these
No.
things. They couldn't hold these things.
Not a chance.
Maybe some sort of ring. A comedian managed to painstakingly remove all of the tattoos from his body.
Ugh. Do you believe this though?
I don't.
I don't either. So this is true, and it happened this week. But what part of it do you believe?
I think that there are clearly some tattoos are being removed, but it's in
Yeah,
process.
yeah.
I think a lot of makeup was involved.
Of course, this is called airbrushing. You get airbrushed all the time.
I'm airbrushed right now.
There we go. Oh, there's Pete.
I think Pete
He's
Davidson
on the carpeting.
is very funny. I think he's very
Yeah.
interesting. I think he has a very interesting perspective. I've liked some of his specials.
Of course.
Pete Davidson as a sex symbol, incomprehensible to me. It is incomprehensible to me, and I do think it's a big divide. I think it's a heterosexual to gay divide, because I do think right. Okay, all right. Straight
well-
women who can admit to themselves they find Pete Davidson attractive, please applaud.
Well, we don't need to drag. What I will say is, like, without being mad at Pete, because God bless, he's got airbrushed and he's doing a good job. But the one thing is, like, I think we live in a world where we've all started to sense when a headline is completely not true.
Yeah.
Like, we're so far beyond, like, truth and fiction. But when it's like, Pete Davidson spent 200 days getting laser tattoo removal. I'm like, he never spent 200 days doing anything. Like, the odds that, no, there's no chance of that.
I just read a book where he signed on to be in a TV show, was meant to be literally starring in it with Glenn Close, and instead of showing up to pitch the show, ghosted Glenn Close. That's not a guy committing to that laser removal
I also
chair.
saw that there was a big article a month or two ago that was like Pete Davidson begged to be fired from SNL, begged Lorne Michaels to fire him. I'm like, there's no universe where that's true, because you could also just get in the elevator.
Right,
Like,
you just go down
you
the
don't have to go
elevator.
beg Lorne Michaels to
Yeah.
get fired. Yeah, it was just like,
That's
but we've
strange.
gotten into this world where there's so many headlines that are so insane that it's almost like a knee-jerk reaction to be like, it's a little bit annoying, because it's like, yeah.
it's almost as if we
Yes.
live in a kind of decadent
Bizarro.
and depraved, kind of addled, broken society in which people are so
Well, I'm glad that's not true, but yeah.
focused on endless consumption and tiny bits of serotonin hitting their fucking brains in little bits over and over and over again. They've kind of lost the ability to see the forest for the trees in some sort of fundamental ways, leading to openings for kind of con men and monsters.
I
you
had
know?
lost track because I was looking at how yummy Pete looked with his shirt off. Fucking yummy as fuck. What?
I saw that on a billboard in Hollywood, and I was like, "Oh, they airbrushed all his tattoos off." Because I hadn't
Of
seen
course.
the story.
Because of course.
Of course.
Because of course.
Everybody, you can check out Thomas's Ronan Boyle book series wherever you get books or audiobooks, and also on Paramount Plus.
Probably pretty much everything.
Everything's
Yeah.
on Paramount Plus.
Pretty much everything.
The best. Thomas Lennon, the one, the only.